What's the moment you realised your writing had connected with someone in a way you didn't expect?
So every interaction I have with a reader who tells me my work has meant something to them is a gift, honestly. It means so much to me. But something that has happened in the last 9 months or so that has been particularly special to me is the amount of academics who have emailed me about an academic affair, a lot of whom have never read romance novels before, and they picked it up because it is about academics by an academic, and I think a lot of them weren't expecting very much, but a lot of them have reached out to me to tell me how deeply the representation of academia resonated with them, and I do think some of them were a little bit triggered as well. This is a romance novel, but it is not romantic about the modern neoliberal university. But it means a lot to me that my novels have garnered that kind of respect among my scholarly peers.
What's the weirdest or most unexpected thing you've ever Googled for a story?
I don't know if this counts as a particularly weird thing that I've Googled for a book. I know what those crime writers out there are up to, but the amount of stuff about wine I have had to Google for a study in sparkling is pretty intense. Like, I've gone to get myself some formal wine education, so I make sure Satoshi sounds like a proper grown-up sommelier. But I am on Wine Folly and Decanter and all these wine websites every day of the week. Whoever would have thought a few little sentences would take so much research?
What's a moment in your career when advice from another writer changed your path?
I'm going to cheat a little bit on this question. This isn't advice another writer gave me that changed my career, but it is advice from two of my friends, one of whom is an editor and one of whom has written about books for a long time. And they were very, very dear friends of mine. And during COVID, we used to have this regular Friday Zoom drink session. And during the long, long lockdowns of COVID is when I came up with the idea for the Marry Me Juliet series. And I logged onto our Friday night Zoom and I said, friends, I've had a terrible idea and I need you to talk me out of it. Suffice to say, they did not talk me out of it. And the advice that they gave me was that it was a good idea and that I should write it. And now my career looks completely different as a result.
What's a scene or idea you've never shared publicly but always wanted to?
A scene or idea I've never shared publicly. In the first draft of An Academic Affair, there was a scene near the end where Sadie and Jonah encountered Murray and Lily, who are the hero and heroine of my previous book, Not Here to Make Friends. There is a little bridge between these two series. Eagle-eyed readers might pick it up, but my publisher thought it was a bit too much to have these characters cross over. So know that this scene did happen, even if it's not in the book. Maybe I'll put it on my website at some point. It's written. I would just need to tidy it up a little bit.
What's one piece of advice you wish every aspiring author would take seriously?
One piece of advice I wish all aspiring writers would take to heart is that your first draft is allowed to be bad. Indeed, I encourage you to have a bad first draft. I think perfectionism is something that has driven so many people away. And that pressure that you put on yourself to make it perfect means that you'll never get past the beginning. So let your first draft be bad. Obviously, this advice doesn't apply to me because if my first draft is bad, I'm not only a bad writer, but a bad person. But it does apply to you, obviously.
Thank you so much for tuning in to 5 Authors, 5 Questions. Don't forget to hit subscribe now and tune in next week to hear from my next guest.